4 days ago, Piotr Ekimov was 13 minutes and 37 seconds down on the race leader, Miguel Indurain. Now, after winning stage 18 and stage 19, the mountain time trial, Ekimov has moved up to 5 minutes 39 seconds behind Indurain. The penultimate stage has just 2 climbs, with the last one 89 kilometres from the finish. So the flat run-in may suit the sprinters, and perhaps Miguel Indurain can be safe in the yellow jersey going on to the final day in Paris. You can see from the way the peloton's cruising along now, they're leaving gaps in it as well, so there's nobody going to touch handlebars and come down. We don't want to crash this stage of the game with just 117 riders now left after retirement earlier on of Marc Sejean, previous champion of Belgium, and a great one-day classics man as well, but nevertheless he's now out of the race, so they're all just coasting along here looking for the train tonight to take them up to Paris. Let's go back then to the successes of that young man Ekimov, who scored 2 successes in succession. In fact, had it not been for Rodriguez sitting on his wheel the day before, he'd have got a triple. And I think we have to go a long way back in the books to find people who've done the triple. And I think we probably find it might be Freddie Mertens, who's one of the few riders ever to have done 3 stages on the trot in the race. If we go back through the years, Rominger did it 1993. 1991, Charlie Motti did it, a couple of stages there in the Tour. 1986, Bontempi did it. And we go all the way back through. Hino was a regular one. Hino, in fact, did it no less than 3 times that he took the double 2 stages on the trot. And in fact, the man, if we go back to 1969, and chapeau, they say in France, to none other than Barry Hoban, who took the 18 stage into Bordeaux and the 19 stage from Bordeaux to Brive. So way back in 1969, the British rider Barry Hoban also completed the double 2 on the trot. Confirmation then of that second climb just come up on our computer. I thought I spotted Perini in second spot. It was over the Col de la Fosile after 97 kilometres. Peter Leclerc went over in first place. Perini by me in second place. Denise went over in fourth, and Vironk back in fifth place, and still in the spotted jersey, so he's not going to lose that at all. And here we can see on the right hand side of the picture Sean Yates, and on the left hand side 38-year-old Dag Otto Lauritsen giving a slight wave there. Well, TVM down to 3 men, and I was quite marvelled yesterday when I saw they've still got their thumping great coach here at the moment, and apart from the 3 team cars they've got in the race, they've also got 2 of their other cars that turned up as well for the run-in. So they've got 3 riders, they've got about at least 2 vehicles each, and a coach as well. 3 managers, 3 mechanics, so they're extremely well looked after. But they survived the course so far, and most of these riders happily heading in towards Lac de Saint-Point. What will happen in the last hour or so? The hammer will go down as usual. This is a quiet day we've seen. They ambled up that, but right now it's the first time we've seen the bunch sitting in here until they unleash the fury towards the end of the race, when people like Abdoujaparov will be looking for a stage success. They're heading into Lac de Saint-Point, which is one of the biggest lakes in France, and also not far from Metabief, where we had the World Mountain Bike Championships last year, and we're within about 10 kilometres just the other side of the lake with Metabief. And this is a great area for mountain biking too. I'll talk to you a bit more about it later on, because my co-commentator Stephen Roche has now found his way to join me. And a bit wet this morning, wasn't it, Stephen?
Well, there's a bit of everything on the road. I actually followed through from start to finish on the race road, and I found that it was very changed. We got very, very heavy rain towards the start near Geneva. Then it was sunshine, then it was dry, then it was more rain again. So it's been a terrible day altogether for a second last day out of Tour de France. Normally we expect warmer weather than this, but it'll help the lads once again, it'll help the lads recover a little bit from their efforts of the last 3 weeks. And well, it's normal today's stage is going to be like it's nice and slow, I'd say, until the last 50 kilometres or so, because the race is over now. Nobody can gain any more place for anywhere now. Yesterday was the grand finale, so it's quite normal that today they take it easy.
Must have been some disappointment in the Grand Finale, though. LeBlanc and Veronk, the French press have got pictures of them both collapsed at the finish, looking absolutely like they've had their guts torn out of them, because they were trying hard to maintain their positions in the top three. At least Veronk will be up on the podium with the polka dot jersey, but of them all, LeBlanc must be very upset. He did try the other day to keep on the heels of Pantani, but from Pantani, the revelation, and his ride yesterday, certainly the French look absolutely out. I'm always interested in this about sportsmen, Stephen. I know you rode yourself out completely on La Plante to put yourself in position to get the yellow jersey, but very often it's the losers who look worse than the winners. It's like, if you ever watch the Oxford and Cambridge boat race, every year, I don't care which team wins and which team loses, the team that wins always look like they could row the whole thing again. The team that loses, even if it's only one length, are absolutely knocked out. And those pictures, those two French blokes in the paper today, look, LeBlanc and Veronk, you'd have thought they were dead.
Well, like when you win, if they had made the same effort and still finished in second or third place, they would have been looking very happy also, I'm sure. But the fact that they didn't, they lost their place, and everybody has been building them up, the papers, the television, radio, everybody has been building them up to be second and third in Tour de France, or third and fourth in this year's Tour de France. So then they lost their place then, so that was it, you know. I was at the Castorama here team having a joke. There's 4 of them left in the bunch, and here they are 4 all in one line. It's possibly the first time in the whole 3 weeks that the whole team have been actually together, because I was cheering Murray here making the joke on the left hand side, on our extreme left hand side of our screen. It's Francois Simon here having away with his raincoat on and the green bands, a brother of Jerome Simon, Pascal Simon and Redier Simon. And we have in the middle then Thomas Davy, who is a very good rider, definitely my 112 is my rider for the future. So and the other guy is Laurent Thibault. So it's very, very few teams in this race actually finishing off with a full team.
Nice to see the Castramas in line, because my mind goes back to Le Havre when Telemi did that long lone breakaway, and going in over the last maybe 8 kilometres to go, all the Castrama team except Telemi, who was off down the road doing his 234 kilometre lone break, lined themselves up wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder. It wasn't a sort of nasty defensive blocking thing, it was just a symbol, wasn't it, of here we are chaps, he's down the row, we'll sit on the front for a kilometre or so just to show we Castramas have got the man down, and we'll sit there. Now we're down to 4 men this time.
Well, what they would be doing in that situation, they'd be kind of showing everybody, listen, if you want to attack, one of us will be going with you. So it means if I wanted to attack, for example, I'll have a Castorama man with me. So you can see here the teams nearly going, some teams here would have started off at 9 and are down to like 3, like the GAN team, they're down to 3 riders now. So but it's the first day in the race that the riders have actually ridden anyway, and slowly at all, and they're having time to catch up on what's happened during the race, because it's amazing. I remember like in some Tour de France, you'd be talking to some lads in the start of it, you wouldn't see them again until the last day or second last day. You say, oh, you're still here, are you? Oh, South has gone home. Oh, is he? When did he go home? Oh, about 10 days ago. Like, you don't know where you are. You kind of, you're so involved in the race and the tactics and so busy looking after yourself, you don't realise that riders are going home all the time, and you just haven't got time to keep up with it. So it's one of the most precious days in the Tour de France is this day and tomorrow, because it's the only time since the start really the lads have time to have a chat and catch up on what's been happening since the start of the Tour de France 3 weeks ago.
Well, of course, what they also do, they can't get together because they're staying in different hotels all over the place, aren't they? When they finish, they disappear off. There could be many kilometres, and maybe only 2 teams in one hotel, 1 team here, 3 teams there. So there's not an opportunity for them to gel together either, is it?
No, it's not really. But the main problem is, even when they are together, they never actually see each other, because you all have your own room. You're sharing a room with your teammate. You go down, and normally in the restaurant, normally they will have a salon for each team. So you'll have like one salon for the Carrera team, one salon for the ZG team, one salon for the Castorama team, depending on the main team that's staying in the hotel. And so each team will be eating in a different area. Then after we eat, then like each team gets finished at possibly a different time, and everyone gets up from the table and goes to bed. So nobody sees anybody else anymore.
Well, inside information from Stephen Roche on the tactics of the teams there.
Today's subject, running. Carl here is a normal runner, which is unusual. because most of us run incorrectly. Either too much on the inside of the foot, thank you, Carl, or too much on the outside. And the farther we run, the more strain we put on our feet. And how to stop this? Simple. The torsion system, which incorporates an X-bar to support the foot all the way through the gait cycle, while still allowing natural movement. Class dismissed. You too, Carl.
The compact field of riders, one or two just trotting along at the back of the field. There is no pressure at the moment. The riders have decided that they'll bury the hatchet for today, not in each other's heads, but as far as they're concerned, it's buried on the side of the road, so they can ride as a enormous club run going at some 20 miles an hour, and then the hammer will go down, getting close in towards the finish. So for all you non-supporters of cycle racing, can't understand why they're going like this. Let me tell you, they're all hanging on by their eyeballs. Most of them have just been thankful to survive today. They've then got to get in the train, the Trans Grand Vite, and hammer up to about 4 hours in the train to Paris, while the entourage that supports the race will be driving through the night to get to Paris to set things up tomorrow. And the big truck drivers who drive the enormous camions along, they will be probably just about getting into Paris at the crack of dawn tomorrow to set everything up ready for the race to go into the Champs-Élysées. The backup to the Tour de France is enormous. If you've not watched the race before and you stay with us to the end and you see the cameras go up into the sky and look at the finishing area, you'll see these enormous great trucks. Well, they've got to be driven all the way up to Paris. It's something like about 600 kilometres, something stupid. It's a long way to go for the people to drive tonight, including us, myself and Steve. We've got to do our little trip there. Polly at the back, and LeBlanc likewise. They're in no threat at the moment. Nobody's starting to do anything particular. See, Polly is getting his crash hat out. Or no, is he taking it on or getting himself ready? No, we haven't seen this chap do a bit of an attack, are we?
Yeah, no, but
being sensible.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Like, a lot of riders don't use the hat early on in the race because it's more of a hindrance than a help. So then they go back themselves to the car. A team leader will send back a teammate back to the car to get a crash hat. He'll bring it up, put it on for the last 50 kilometres or before the hammer goes down. So Polly sensed now it was 60 kilometres to go now, so it's time to put it on, because no use going back and getting it when the hammer's down, because you're going at 70 kilometres an hour, so it's more difficult than getting back.
Well, they're riding up the last little climb of the day. It's not on our King of the Mountains climb. The last one in the King of the Mountains today was the Col de la Fossile, taken by de Klerk, and that one is the first passage of the Jura chain. It's 1,323 metres up in the sky, and it was opened in 1805 for people to go over. And in fact, it's a classic in the Tour de France. It's one of the oldest as far as the riders are concerned, because for years they just went on the flatlands, but they first went over it in 1911, and then again in 1920, 1930. It was there pretty well every year in the book. And there's a beautiful view back there of the Mont Blanc, but these riders now turn their backs on that and are heading in then towards the finish of the race at Lac de Saint-Point, which has been for the first time featuring in the annals of the Tour. And it's a tremendously long lake, by the way. It's 7,200 kilometres, so it's what's that, just over a 10 miles long. It's an enormous long lake it is, and it's a very wide one too. It's a tremendous lake. We'll probably have a chance of looking at that one. It's up at 900 metres of altitude as well, so it freezes over during the winter. They can go skating on there, but most of the time during the summer they go fishing there, and also the people are out there windsurfing and sailing and enjoying themselves, as the big crowd is doing, waiting to applaud these chaps as they come along now. Well, not far over to the right hand side of where the riders are now, they could be able to see the mountains where the Metabier held the mountain bike world championships last year. And in fact, I was talking to Bernie Schreiber just the other day that there's a downhill objective on a mountain bike, but it just looks like a motorbike without an engine on it, to approach 200 kilometers per hour downhill on snow. This fellow who's made this machine, he actually did 160 kilometers per hour in May this year. He drops off from 2,700 meters of altitude down a snow track and on these pieces where they go skiing, and he's got tires with studs in it like they have for the speedway on ice up in Sweden. So that's a nutty sort of thing to do. It's called the kamikaze, and I wait with bated breath to see if he can do 120 20 miles downhill on what looks like, he's got a mountain bike, but to me it's just a motorbike without an engine. It has got pedal, he's got to pedal the thing, but it's a machine for a maniac. No wonder they call it the kamikaze stunt. So these riders on the flat here, nice smooth road, looks like they've tarmacked this one, especially for the Tour as well.
Well, there are some parts of the race today, of the circuit, that they have tarmacked for the race, because it's so fresh and so new. I got out of the car a couple of times coming here this morning, and it was the tarmac at was no more than, I'd say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks old, maybe, if it's even that. It could be even the first time a bicycle has been over the tarmac at maybe, but it's all this is what the Tour de France does. That people, when it's coming through a certain road or coming to a certain town, the towns get cleaned up, something terrible for the passage of the Tour de France, because here you are, you'll see this. People know that for the last 70 or 75 kilometres, so they'll be going out live on television all over Europe. Already Eurosport are bringing out over 50 million homes throughout Europe, so you can imagine the publicity which can be gotten by any town if you seeing it, watching here from anywhere, from any country that Eurosport is showing. It's great publicity for any town, so they do their utmost then to get the town right, with flowers, with the roads clean, their new tarmac getting down where the roads are very bad, and make their town look really the part.
Well, they're going to come shortly through a little town of Muth, where they've actually put Christmas trees all the way down. They stuck these Christmas trees into special devices to hold them upright, and decorated them all with little flowers made of paper, like these little paper flowers. So the most unusual side, I thought, I've got to pinch myself, I'll probably find Father Christmas down the road, dressed in his red cloak, a completely white beard and reindeer. But that will confront the riders shortly, and they no doubt will be as surprised as I was this morning. But the town was very much on fate, working the Tour de France, and here they are. See the people clapping them and waving to them as they go through. The fact that they're still promenading along here, the public aren't that concerned. They come out, they've seen the Tour, they've seen the giants of the road, and in fact one of the signs I saw today, I think, encapsulates the whole feeling of the French towards the Tour de France, and it said, "Merci pour la spectacle, vive le vélo." Thank you very much indeed for the spectacle, riders, and long live the bicycle. And that, I think, encapsulates the whole thing. People have been watching it on television, listening to it on the radio, reading the newspapers, and they know when these riders are coming through here now what they've gone through. They've gone through enormous heat, they've gone through terrible problems of sickness, they've gone through crashes, they've ridden up great big mountains that you wouldn't even drive a car up if you felt halfway inclined to preserve the engine. They've gone up there and they've raced at nearly 25 miles an hour, and they're down now to 117 of the 189 who started. We've lost something like 40% of the field, and you're looking at now these men that have ridden round this course now, something in excess of 3,700 kilometres of racing, and they're now on the 20th stage. 162 kilometres have been covered, so we've just got some 46 kilometres to finish, just over 25 miles of activity yet to go. Two of the gunmen at the back, 2 out of the 3, and they have been slimmed down considerably by the race so far, but nevertheless we can long remember Chris Boardman's wonderful success in taking the yellow jersey, and I look forward to seeing what will happen next year as far as Chris is concerned, as to whether he's like to stay the race all the way through. We wish him the best of luck in his new life as a professional bike rider. Just shows to some of you amateurs out there that Chris 12 months ago was an amateur rider. He just exactly 12 months ago, virtually on the Friday took the hour record down at Bordeaux, opened the eyes of the team managers to his ability, and then since then has progressed very, very well indeed on the road, not only winning the time trials but also winning a stage the other day in one of the shorter stage races. So he's got a lot of prospects coming up, and I just hope we're going to get more British riders coming through, and the same thing for the Irish listeners, Steve. We need some more talent, don't we?
You do. I don't know really what's happening at home in Ireland. I'm a little bit out of touch with it at the moment, but it would be nice, of course, to see some more lads coming through, but it's the same old story. Like it's the economical problem really is not helping anybody, whether it be in Ireland or England, because lads now are leaving school early, and because there's no work, they're going out and riding the bike, and they're practically full-time bike riders when they're 16 and 17 years of age. So when they get to the age of 20, when they should be really kind of knuckling down to cycling, they're just kind of more or less burned out mentally. So when the going starts getting rough, they just haven't got it then to hang in. So it's been very unfortunate over the last few years that riders have been very, very good juniors. They've been going out to be very good seniors, riding reasonably well in international events, and not been able to make it as a professional. So it's a bit disappointing when you when you see like myself, Sean, Martin Early, my brother Lawrence and Paul Kimmage, we were as 5 professionals over the last 10 years, and now there's nobody coming through. So it'd be nice to see somebody coming through soon, whether it be a good or an average rider. It'd be good to see a Irish representative here in the peloton.
Well, of course, the man who burnt the trail for the Irish cyclist, Shea Elliott, I remember racing against him myself many years ago, and then following on behind him was Peter Crinion, wasn't it? They sort of started the way open for yourself and Sean and the rest to follow on, but now we need somebody else, volunteers, step forward quickly as possible, and the same thing for the Brits. Who's going to take over? Because Sean Yates, thank goodness, says he's going one more year. I don't know what's happening to Robert Miller, because he has had this knee trouble, which may make life rather difficult for him, but if Robert doesn't last another year and Sean is just going to have one more year before he packs it up, we've just got to rely upon Chris Bourban, I suppose, but let's hope there's somebody else out there that is prepared to be taken up by one of the teams and get stuck in. But it's very difficult, though, to leap up into this level of competition and to withstand 3 weeks of racing. What you're looking at, they say, oh, well, I could ride a bike like that, but you can't, because we're looking at they've been racing over 100 miles a day, every day as an average, at nearly 25 miles an hour, and the conditions, the heat, the food they've been eating, you're going from hotel to hotel, eating different food, having different water to drink, all sorts of things that really do knock riders about in the 3 weeks of racing. The long string of riders chasing after Simon, who broke away about 2 kilometres down the road, just following the sprint at Muth. That sprint then taken on the line by Martinello ahead of De Klerk, who have now gone back into the safety of the bunch, leaving the Benessos to chase down the one lone breakaway. Their work they've got to do is to keep Indrain near the front, near the head of affairs, so that the bunch doesn't close down and we have any touching of wheels and crashes as we've seen in the past. So still Simon slaughtering himself out here in front on that special bicycle made of aluminium tubes, all welded together very neatly. Nice little lugs, lugless frame. Had a good look at it the other day, and the straight forks on the front, much favoured by some riders and not others, but back in this main pack at the moment. The sprinters looking through a little group here. Where is Abdoujaparov? He's slapped bang in the middle of the field, right in the midst of the arrowhead, keeping himself out of harm's way at the moment, getting a bit of a tow because he is in a very much reduced team, Abdoujaparov. He's got Fidanza with him. Fidanza won the first sprint of the day at Vuillet on Salas. The first climb of the day, the third category on the Col de Cologne. Peter de Klerk took that one, and now with 20 kilometres to go, then still Simon on the lead. The second climb of the day, the Col de Faucille, was taken by de Klerk again, and the race really rolled over those and allowed de Klerk an opportunity to zip out and get himself some points. And at Muth, it was Martinello that won that sprint. So that's been the action of the day. They've been going rather quietly, which is not unsurprising considering the fact that it bucketed down with rain this morning. Conditions were absolutely diabolical for the riders. We've even come through places where the hailstorms have been swept up on the side of the road, and the 117 riders left now following the retirement of Marc Sargent, getting towards the end. 20 kilometres to go on the stage from Morzine to Lac de Saint-Point.
It's a big pity really to see Marc Sargent going away like that, because he's one of the real old soldiers of Tour de France and of the Dutch riders, because he's been around so long. He's had an incredible career. So I'd say to have him going home today when the war is nearly over, the war is actually over, he must have had some kind of a digestive problem or some kind of a bug or something, because there's no way Marc Sargent would have gone home on a flat stage like today after hauling his big 6'2" body over all the mountains.
And Simon still trying to stay away from that little group behind him. There you can see on our graphics that he's covered 189 kilometres of the 208 kilometres so far, and he would desperately like to get into the twists and turns of this village here to make sure he's out of sight of the chasing group, because once they can see him they can go much harder, but now he'll be able to turn a little bit out of sight and hope that it may take the edge off the chase.
Well, the final one is very difficult, because it's only, the roads get a little smaller and there's an awful lot of people on the road as well, so it's going to make it very difficult for riders overtaking in that. But it is also rolly roads up and down, so it's very difficult from the whole on his own. But it's making preparing the way for the teammate of like Thierry Murray to have a go in the final kilometre or two.
17 to go then for this very brave attempt of the Castorama rider to get them a stage success here, which they so desperately need. They did get one with Jackie Dupont, who the champion of France was then forced to retire from the race, so they've got some success. Other teams that have not got successes yet, particularly Word Perfect, I have thought, have got to do something to try and get up there in a winning position today, but I can't see any of their men near the front right now at the moment.
The Kelme team, the teammates of the Kelme team are riding along with the Benestos here in the front, which is quite normal. We haven't seen the team of Abdoujaparov yet, the Pulse team, coming to the front. He hasn't got many teammates left, I know, but he's probably waiting for get near to the end before they actually come. As you see, as I was saying, the crowds here are incredible. Like, it makes the road very, very narrow, but it's great encouragement to have all these people on the side of the road.
And they're cheering a valiant effort by Simon to stay away from this pack, still being led by the Benesto team. You can see the long string of riders behind, the 117 or so left in this race, trying to stay in contention. Some of them just hanging on and waiting for the finish today and the chance to climb on the Train Grand Vite, the train which will take them from Pontarlier, which is not far from here, up to Paris to the rest tonight at Disneyland. It's been no Mickey Mouse race, this one, has it? Right now they're getting stuck in. It's the first day we had anything like a quiet patch, but now they go in the background. Here's one of the Train Grand Vite. They'll be on that one later on, all the way up to Paris. Yes.
Train Grand Vite means TGV,
yes.
TGV means Train Grande Vitesse.
Oh, Vitesse, all right.
Train, fast speed train. So
well, it's very fast, all I know.
Your French is still lot to go for it, Dave.
Oh, my French has been disgusting ever since I left school. Like, it's never got any better. In fact, I think it's getting worse.
Well, it's taken me a while to understand what you were saying with the Grand Vitesse, so I'll translate it for you.
I can understand your English, you can try and understand my French.
Yeah.
Well, it's a long time back since I took French at school, and unfortunately it only comes back on certain occasions, and it comes back worse, I think. There we are. Well, we're not going to catch the train, whatever it is, TGV. We're going to drive tonight. There'll be a fair old thrash across country to Dole and then pick up the motorway up into Paris this evening. As you say, we work long hours and we won't see our beds much till midnight tonight, and then up again crack of dawn tomorrow. This man's still riding away here. You can see how he's in sight. You can see there in the background too that enormous lake at Lac de Saint-Point. That one stretching something like about 10 miles in length, and quite a wide one it is too. And the riders here heading down the one side, they're actually going more or less in a northerly direction. They'll turn at the top and come back down halfway down the lake in a southerly direction to the finish where a big crowd is there. We're virtually over the other side of that lake, the finish, just a bit further down the road than we can see now. That gives you some idea of this enormous lake, and those mountains in the background just over the other top of there is where they had the mountain bike championship of the world in Metabief. But the race still hammering after the one lone rider, Simon, on his own, about 100 yards ahead. And attack looks like Denise having a go here on the front. No, it is Anderson, is it?
No, it's Denise.
Denise, I was right
Michel
first
Denise,
time?
Yeah. Michel Denise having a go. Haven't seen Michel at all for practically the Tour de France started maybe this year, but he's won't say he's coming to form, but now that the mountains are all over now, he's not afraid anymore, so he can come out and give it everything that he has. So, and as well, on the Motorola team needed some kind of results, because they had everything booked on Maillot this year, and Maillot hasn't done a thing this year, so they had to show themselves in some way or another.
And I'd have thought the tactics are possibly that Anderson might try and do the same thing. Denise pulling Swan back here. He's been sharing the room with Machia.
Look how fast the group is coming up, though.
Yeah.
Look how fast the group is coming up.
So
Chazal are doing a bit of the chasing. I was saying earlier on that Chazal had to try and do something today. They are having a go.
They're all over the place now, and Motorola thankfully having Sean Yates in the yellow jersey at Bren had something to show for it, and it was great to see them up on the stand where they sign on the Fiat stand in the morning when Danny Manegas introduced. There was Sean Yates in the yellow jersey and the Motorola team on either side of him, but that's all they had to show when Machia just has not come on song at all this year. The man who finished 4th in the Tour de France last year, they knew it was going to be a mountain climbers race this year, but Machia just never has hit form at all. He's lying in 31st place over a 1 hour now 1 minute and 43 seconds down. Just shows you how from 1 year to another a rider can go from one extreme to another. The man who really has suddenly gone from 4th down to 31st. And
we have Carlos Beaumont there after attacking. He split the group. There's a small little group after breaking away in the front. But this is Carlos Beaumont for the MGGB team. There's 3 riders there. Second rider, the Poultry rider, I think. The third rider, I can't see who it is for the moment. But this is Carlos Beaumont in the front. And you can see the glass he has over on his nose. That's the Banesta rider.
That's amazing to send somebody up like that, because normally they'll sit back with their team captain. They just shot Uriarte up there to join them.
Yeah, it is. Normally should have stayed back with Miguel Indurain, because there's no point of him going up there as he's trying to win the stage maybe. But at this stage in the race, the overall of Miguel is more important than a stage win.
And they haven't had a stage victory except for the one victory of Indurain in that time trial on stage 9, when he smashed the race wide open when he went down to Bergerac, and the Benestos having to defend it ever since, as far as he's been concerned.
The problem here, though, is now that the Carlos Beaumont is finding himself on his own, because the Poultry rider will not ride, because he's blocking for Abdoujaparov, who is behind. So as you can see now, the bunch now is coming up to no problem, because it's too far to go with only one rider riding on his own.
But for GBMG,
Anderson, is it? Anderson having a go?
Yep, it looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like it's the style of Phil.
Head over the front wheel, thrash the bike for about a kilometre and see what gap you've opened up.
As you can see, the lake here in the background, there was also a bit of crosswind here, so it makes it easier for a small break to get away.
3 men opened up a lead about 50 yards. Poulty again sitting on the wheel. There's no chance, I think, for anything to happen there, because he's not going to come through at all.
No,
that's Andrew. Is it Anderson? Is it Andrew?
Yeah, it's not Phil, no. Don't think it's Phil anyway,
And up there for the Onse team at the moment, just looking over his shoulder to see where things have gone. That's
Phil,
Yep.
It's Phil, all right.
But the green jersey is, yellow jersey is not going to work at all.
Nice horse running along beside the bunch.
Yeah, well, the chap's got it in good control, thank goodness. The horse is not going to dance into the middle of the bunch. We've had that happen before now with loose horses, because they do get surprised, but this man's got it full under control. Just decided to race the rise along here. The speed at which they're going. Actually, the amazing 6-day racing at one time started with a man racing against a horse. For 6 days in Agricultural Hall in London, somebody bet him that he couldn't ride for 6 days, and beat a man who kept changing horses, and they went round and round and round, and that was where the 6-day racing first started from. And so this rider, I forget whether he won the bet or lost the bet, but he rode for 6 days on his bicycle, and they had the horses. This horse rider kept going round and round and round, and then from that another rider challenged the bloke on the bike, and that's where 6-day racing started from, racing a horse, believe it or not.
Well, believe it or not,
there's some useless information for you.
Down in Rems, once a year they have a man on a bike doing a 100-metre sprint against a horse.
Do they?
And it has happened. Freddie Martins did it 1 year. Freddie Martins, you might remember, was a very, very good sprinter. He actually beat the horse 1 year. So
and of course in Llandudno Wells, in Wales, they have a race man versus horse, where the horse riders go around a course, and they also have runners and mountain bikers, and Tim Gould was the first to beat the horse riders 1 year and won £5,000 put up by William Hill. That was a few years ago now. Now, well, Uskov's not going to any work here, the Poulty rider, is he?
Well, he normally won't work, because he's riding for Abdoujaparov, who's back in the bunch, so this works in 2 ways for the Poulty team. Having Uchikov in the front means that the Poulty team have not got to ride in the front, and with Uchikov being in the front, that he's not riding in the front either, because he says, well, I'm not going to ride, but I've got Abdu behind. So if the group is not caught, it means he's fresh enough to be able to win the stage himself. So it gives him a good argument not to ride, and it gives his teammates back in the bunch an argument not to ride as well. So it's just the whole idea of having one man in the front.
And Linus Borussia for the Onse team now trying to help Anderson stay away from this big heaving bunch of cyclists, because Onse would desperately like to get themselves the stage. Victor, nearest they came to it was when Stevens finished second to Sorensen and to Montpellier. Just 9 kilometres left to go as the bunch can see the leaders, and Anderson's got to dig deep yet again.
it's a great ride by Phil. Phil, not being the youngest man in the bunch, he's one of the oldest men in the bunch, but he's one of the most experienced men in the bunch. He's had a reign of 14 years now, up and down, but more ups than downs. So it's great to see Phil once again on the attack here in the 1994 Tour de France, because he actually went professional back in 1980. So it's 14 years on the dot, professional, possibly ridden 12 Tour de France's. So Phil once again finishing off very well his 14th, I'd say, 12th, 13th Tour de France.
And Phil Anderson, not only a stage victor in the past in the Tour de France, but the first Australian to take over the yellow jersey. And he was born in England, actually, before the family moved out into Australia. So we have a great affinity with Phil, who's also been a winner of the Kellogg's Pro Tour, where I understand from Michael Bennett and Pat McQuaid, and they're over on the rest day at Lourdes, the Kellogg's Pro Tour is going to have a cracking field of riders. They've been contracting a load of riders from this race, so we're going to see many of them on British soil before very long. It's early in August, if memory serves me correct, that we have the Kellogg's Pro Tour, and you'll be able to see these riders yet again after our 2 days in Great Britain. And Phil now, together with Lenzal Rutia and Uchkov, have been pulled back by the group, so all that work is to no avail as far as Phil is concerned. Twice victor in the Kellogg's Pro Tour, now been sucked back in again, so he can't get a stage victory at the moment to add to the one he got in 1991. A couple of stage victories in the Tour of Italy as well, stage victories in things like the Tour de Suisse, Tour of Romandie, Tour of Luxembourg. So Phil, a great man when it comes to popping up and pinching a stage victory, but at the moment he's got to have to think his tactics over again, because the field have now pulled him back. And whose turn next on the banjo? This is where they start to turn right and then head back up toward the finish. They're at the far end of the lake, and we'll be heading back, and it does rise a little bit here
as Uchkov takes over on his own. So but you have the MGGP riders riding here behind. Also they're riding for Musio, who is going very well at the moment also, and he's normally very strong at the end of the Tour de France. But I think Abdoujaparov and Ludwig they're also going very well. So as he goes around right here and it starts going up a little bit here, so it's a long way to go yet on your own, but the bunch is riding very, very fast behind.
And difficult for lead out men to get their act together. The old bridge in the background, the new bridge in the foreground, thinned the field down somewhat, and the traditional tactics of the chase going on, where we see one team leading out, seems to be disruptive. And yes, the pink jerseys and white jerseys of the Telecom coming, and Charlie Motta begin to wind up on the front as well. That's a turn up for the books. He knows a bit uphill from here, so the normal ways in which the teams work doesn't seem to be operating, because the slight uphill bit here, and I think there's a lot of people with very tired legs.
They are. You can see when the guys are attacking, there's no sharpness left in it. Where the first week when somebody attacks, you get an opening straight away. Whereas now, 3 weeks on, there's no sharpness there. And you can see from our aerial shot there a minute ago that the group splits very, very easy. They've got the lads are very, very tired, and the slightest acceleration in the speed can cause gaps. Here you see Uchkov with a profiled front wheel here and a normal wheel in the back. That's because they say having the profile on the front, it's actually it's good for the CX, it's good for the penetration in the wind. So that's why he has one on the front, not on the back, because the front one is the most important one. So it's possible it doesn't help him that much, but every little bit is every little bit's a little help.
Still then, the Pulte team. An attack coming up very quickly indeed, as on the far side again, it looks like the GAN having a go at the moment. Eddie Signeur having a go. So GAN reserved their strengths right toward the back end, and Signeur now ploughing away. Well, he's a very strong short distance pursuiter type man, isn't he? So just with some 6 kilometres to go, it's Eddie Signeur launching himself off in the front of this pack at the moment.
He is looking very, very strong, all right, but I can't see the group letting him get very far, because now the Telecom and the Pulte riders have come to the front. So as neither of them have a complete team, they will join their efforts together now, I'd say, and try and give Ludwig and Abdoujaparov a good lead out.
Eddie Signeur then, Victor, 4 days at Dunkirk, knows what it's like to sort of hammer yourself at the back end. I watched him, remember, last year coming through the cobbled streets, and Eddie Signeur is quite capable of driving hard toward the finish like this, and but he's still on his own. Eddie Signeur just 100 metres ahead from the field. Still the main field hammering after Eddie Signeur.
He's riding very strong. even though he's had a very, very hard week in the Alps, after having another very hard week in the Pyrenees, he's finishing off his Tour de France very, very well. He goes under the banner with 5 kilometers to go, but still it's the group riding behind him with the Polti for Abdoujaparov and the riders of the Telecom for Ludwig. Once they get it going, normally they should catch him back in the last couple of 100 meters.
The crowd applauding the valiant effort of Eddie Signeur of the Gann team. This is Chris Boardman's team at the start of the Tour just 3 weeks ago. It was the Gann colours that were flying at the top of the mast when it was a superb victory in the prologue time trial by Chris Boardman to take the first ever yellow jersey in a prologue time trial in the Tour de France for a British rider. The first rider to take the yellow jersey since Tom Simpson way back in 1962. And if Chris is watching this programme, our congratulations to you, Chris, on the amount of interest you created, not only in Great Britain but amongst the French press too, and we hope your form's coming on for the riding in the World Championships. And rumour has it at the moment too that Miguel Indurain is going to go for the hour record. It gets, we've heard this before, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. It rests with Aubry at the moment, and Aubry and Boardman, who 12 months ago surprised the whole of the French public when the Tour de France, dominated by Miguel Indurain, was in a bit of a trough. And so now still the yellow jersey on the shoulder of Miguel Indurain, heading towards his 4th victory. But the question is, who's going to get the stage with 4 kilometres to go?
As you can see here, Signor now is being caught by the very fast-moving group. Once a group is riding along so fast, the momentum gets faster and faster and faster. But as you can get there on your own, you get slower and slower. So Skibby has a go.
Jester Skibby took the stage into Evian last year. He's done just the same thing. Last year went away with that 2 kilometres to go. This is with 3 to go, and Skibby's unleashed an enormous burst of speed. Looking back over his shoulder, has he done enough?
Well, unfortunately, the finish here is now, it's not uphill, it's very flat, so it's going against Skibby. Skibby, if it had been uphill finish, even if it only goes slightly uphill, still would have been better as Ekimov.
Well, word perfect, need a stage victory, but has he accelerated fast enough at the moment? Just inside, some 3 kilometres to go, and he's off the front and going like stink.
He is, and behind they're starting to look at each other, so it's a great move by, it looks like Ekimov. I don't know whether it is or not, but it looks very like it is Ekimov, yeah. I was right again. And
Ekimov burying himself here on the front, looking back over his shoulder. This man who had 10 world track records as an amateur to his list of successes. He's also won stage in the Tour de France, won the Championship of Zurich, and this year was winner of the DuPont Tour.
The other day he tried it with 5 kilometres to go as well, in the Futuroscope I think it was, and he was caught with about 200 yards to go. So will he be able to prolong his efforts today and hold off this very, very fast moving bunch?
Suits him as an ex-world amateur and professional pursuit champion when they go on the track and thunder around on the track, but he's opened up a gap now.
Look how fast he's going, look how fast he's going from a helicopter. You can see those white lines going by as if he was riding a motorbike. 2
kilometres to go. This is the sort of distance that Ekimov can go at a steady 35 miles an hour. He'll have to go like stink, but he's looking back over his shoulder. Surely he should put his head down and just go.
Yeah, but it's very easy to say, Dave. He has memories, I'm sure, of the other day being caught with 200 yards to go, so he wants to go with the bunch coming up to him very, very fast now.
Look at the speed of that bunch. Of course, they're relaying each other, and he's looking back now, and if he's finished this one, he might have nothing left in his legs for another repeat, but you never know. As they begin to close, suddenly somebody says, oh, it's your turn to take over, and the gap might open up, but no, they're holding him.
It's the GP here that have closed the gap on him.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
It's Sorensen, actually, I think.
Sorensen's jumping around, and he's trying to go.
Yeah. No, he shouldn't have closed the gap. He should have waited and let the other guys close the gap.
And look who's doing the work on the front. Polly then looking back for Martinello because he's trying to lead his man through, but Polly's absolutely cooked, and yet again another attack from Denise.
Is it Dernis or is it
I don't know.
Andrew?
No, I think it's Andrew, isn't it? Because Dernis has got the blue crash out on.
Giotto there. Giotto's in the wheel.
1 kilometre to go.
Giotto's going to go, is he?
The man who said he's got a nose for this, Grosso, looking back over his shoulder.
Go. Yeah.
They're swinging all over the place. No sign of the green jersey. Abdoujaparov, who must have tired legs, and the Poli ran on the front. Poli looks over his shoulder, doesn't want to lead out at all. Garosso looking back to see who's behind him.
Somebody will go from the back.
And looks like Mauro Chiesa coming through the gap. Chiesa's come through, and Chiesa's launched an attack, and they all look the other way. Chiesa's gone straight through the gap. This little rider's ducking and diving for the motorbike.
Go Mario. Mario's getting stage a bit incredible. He always works for everybody else.
So Chiesa then coming towards the line, he's gritting his teeth, and off his wheel comes Simon, and Mario is dying, and Simon is going, and then Yates is coming up, but Yates can't go. Serrato's going for it now in the pink and the blue. Serrato unleashing his sprint. Abdoujaparov's coming off Serrato's wheel. Abdoujaparov and Serrato throwing their bike to Abdou, and Serrato. Japarov came from nowhere, rocketing past the finishing line at some 40 miles an hour. Who got that one, Stephen?
Abdoujaparov, It was very, very close, but what a way Sward has come on in the last year. Like, he was a normal sprinter, but now, since the Tour of Italy this year now, he's come on in jumps. He's really going on. He's an incredible sprinter now.
Well, look at that from the top there. Martinello following the pink and blue colours Serrato. Abdoujaparov ducks inside, sprinting to the left rather than to the right, as he normally does now. Let's watch this one closely, because Serrato looked like he got it in the bag, but Abdoujaparov came up.
Look how fast Abdou comes by. He's incredible at the amount of speed he has in the last... God, look at the speed he has coming back in the last 30 yards. It's incredible.
And also controlling, but look how his bike's rocking from side to side. It's amazing. It stays upright. The power of those thighs. He's got thighs like big tree trunks, and there he's pummeling away on his bike.
He also has big arms as well. He hasn't only got legs like tree trunks, his arms like his legs, and his legs are like my waist. He's powerful. Look at it, the power in him is incredible.
That is a gift. The climbers like Pantani are born with a certain size and shape of body which makes it for them to climb. People like Abdoujaparov, you've not only got to have that ability to sprint, you've got to have the guts and courage to do it as well. And there he takes the victory from Serrato. Martinello in third spot.
But you see how fast he came through on the last 20-30 yards. The last kick of the legs is incredible.
No sign of Ludwig this time?
No. Don't even see him there in our replay. We see Francois Simon is there. We see Yatesy in there. We see Swarda. We see Elias in there. Ludwig's nowhere. Giotto is in the middle.
See where he comes from, over here on the left-hand side.
It's incredible. I don't know how he can find his way through.
Anderson tried to follow him. I can see Phil trying to go through, but then he's just left him like he was riding on a Sunday outing. Anderson, he's going about 37 miles an hour. Abdoujaparov going about 42. Woof! That's superb. That's an absolute skill which... to be able to push the bike along at that sort of speed and at the same time throw the bike at the line and win like that. So that stayed then from Morzine to Lac de Saint-Point, 208 kilometres, won on the line by Abdoujaparov. He started the whole proceedings way back on day one by winning the first road stage of the race after the prologue time trial had been won by rider Chris Bourbon from Great Britain. So Abdoujaparov now topping and tailing it neatly, and looking forward to a success, I'm sure, tomorrow on the Champs-Élysées. With that sort of form, he's going to take some catching, isn't he, tomorrow?
He is, but tomorrow is more of a stage for Ludwig. It's very, very flat stage all day. So, although the surprising thing is, Ludwig isn't even there at all today. I would have thought we would have seen him in there in the first 15, but if you watch all the Georges coming by on the screen now, Ludwig is nowhere even in the first 20. So very surprising. Is Ludwig just too tired now, or is he saying to himself, well, tomorrow is more my day, so because the Champs-Élysées is wider than this road here today, and Ludwig prefers a very, very wide road. So and Ludwig needs this needs a win, because he hasn't done anything at all. Anderson was fourth. That's a great ride by Phil Anderson.
He switched on to Abdoujaparov's wheel. I watched him do that, and he just couldn't come through far enough, and the Récit was that got fifth spot. So a lot of Motorola jerseys there. There's Sean Yates in the centre, then there's Andrew over there on that far side. On the left-hand side, Anderson forced his way through, so they did the best good. Simon and Chiesa were dying all over the place. Looking further back, can you see? Yes, can you see Ludwig?
It would have been a great ride for Mario Chiesa if he'd come through, because he hasn't got any major wins at all in his career. He's a couple of small wins, but he's always the first first domestic to Capucci, first domestic to myself when I was there in Carrera, and first domestic now to Pontani. So he deserves someday some compensation for, and what a compensation would be than having a stage win in Tour de France.
And then you see in the background the helicopters have been working on the race, picking up the pictures from the motorcycle cameras. This wonderful lake here where they have the windsurfers out there, the boats as well, and a great place for fishing and swimming and just resting and taking in the lovely atmosphere around about this nice flatlands here, Lac de Saint-Point. The first time that we finished at Lac de Saint-Point in the Tour de France, and they've been treated to a first-class searing sprint. The spectators jammed against the railings here at the finish. Watch this one again. Absolutely mind-blowing. There he is up on the rostrum. We saw the action replay of that sheer burst of speed by Abdoujaparov, the Uzbekistan rider from the Polti team, who's got his second stage victory in the Tour de France this year. He won 3 stage victories last year. Can he make it 3 on the trot by winning in the Champs-Élysées tomorrow? After one of the toughest Tour de France's with only 117 riders left in the race, it was down to the sprinters at the end of the stage into Lac de Saint-Point, and a superb turn of speed saw Abdoujaparov thunder through to take his second stage victory of this year's Tour. Sunday's race finished on the Champs-Élysées. Abdoujaparov will look for his third, doing as he did last year, 3 on the trot. Let's see if he makes it. Join us on Eurosport on Sunday afternoon.
Je dirais bien la société du Tour de France, je le dis de la façon la plus...